just gonna keep on reading, keep on reading. Hi guys, this is Connie, back for Connie Reads Another Fine Myth. I feel very gentle with this now that we're almost done. I don't want the book to break. Alright, chapter 22, a quote. This is another fine myth you've gotten me into. Laurel and Hardy. Oh, the quote is, "This is another fine myth you've gotten me into." And a quote from, it's spelled Lorl and Hard, but it's like Laurel and Hardy. That's funny. There was something there in the shadows. I could sense its presence more than see it. It was dark and serpentine, and it was watching me. I was alone. I didn't know where the others had gone, but I knew they were counting on me. "Who's there?" I called. The voice came back to me out of the darkness, echoed hollowly. "I am Istvan Skeev. I've been waiting for you." "You know who I am?" I asked, surprised. "I know all about you and your friends. I've known all along what you're trying to do." I tried to set wards about me, but I couldn't find a force line. I tried to run, but I was rooted to the spot. "See how my powers dwarf yours, and you expected to challenge me?" I tried to fight back a wave of despair. Wait until the others come, I cried defiantly. "They already have," the voice boomed. "Look." Two objects came rolling at me out of the darkness. I saw with horror that they were heads, Tonda's and Quigley's. I felt ill, but clung to a shred of hope. There was still no sign of Oz. If he was still at large, we might. "Don't look to your pervert for help," the voice answered my thoughts. "I've dealt with him, too." Oz appeared, sheathed in fire. He staggered and fell, writhing on the ground as flames consumed his body. "Now it's just you and me, Skeev," the voice echoed. "You and me." "I'll go!" I shouted desperately. "I've won! Just let me go!" No, I said that wrong. "I'll go!" I shouted desperately. "You've won! Just let me go!" The darkness was moving closer. "It's too late. I'm coming for you, Skeev. Skeev. Skeev!" Something was shaking my shoulder. I bolted upright, blinking my eyes as the world swam back into focus. The camp was asleep. Oz was kneeling beside me, the glow from the campfire's dying embers revealing the concerned expression on his face. "Wake up, kid. If you keep thrashing around, you'll end up in the fire." "It's Istvan," I explained desperately. "He knows all about us." "What?" "I was talking to him. He came into my dream." "Sounds more like a plain old nightmare," Oz proclaimed. "I warned you not to let Tonda season the food." "Are you sure?" I said doubtfully. "Positive," Oz insisted. "If Istvan knew we were coming, he'd hit us with something a lot more powerful than making faces at you in a dream." I guess that was supposed to reassure me. It didn't. All it did was remind me I was thoroughly outclassed in the upcoming campaign. "Oz, can't you tell me anything about Istvan? What he looks like, for instance?" "Not a chance, kid," Oz grinned at me. "Why not?" "Because we won't both see him the same way, or at least we wouldn't describe him the same way. If I describe him to you, one of two things will happen when you first see him. If he looks scarier to you than I've described him, you'll freeze. If he looks more harmless than I described him, you relax. Either way, it'll slow your reactions and give him the first move. There's no point in gaining the element of surprise if we aren't going to use it." "Well," I persisted, "couldn't you at least tell me about his powers? What can he do?" "For one thing, it would take too long. Just assume that if you can imagine it, he can do it." "What's the other?" I asked. "The other what?" "You said for one thing. That implies you have at least one other reason." Oz pondered. "Well, I'm not sure you'll understand, but to a certain degree, what he can do, I meant the whole list, is irrelevant." "Why?" "Because we're taking the initiative. That puts him in the reactive instead of an active role." "You're right," I said thoughtfully. "I don't understand. Look, kid, if we just sat here and waited for him, he could take his time and choose exactly what he wanted to do and when he wanted to do it. That's an active role, and lets him play with his entire list of powers, right? I guess so. But we aren't doing that. We're carrying the attack to him. That should limit him as to what he can do. There are only a certain number of responses he can successfully use with each of our gambits, and he'll have to use them because he can't afford to ignore the attack. Most of all, we'll rob him of time. Instead of leisurely choosing what he's going to do next, he'll have to choose fast. That means he'll go with the option he's surest of, the one he does best. I considered this for a few moments. It sort of made sense. Just one question, Oz, I said finally. What's that, kid? What if you've guessed wrong? Then we drop back 10 and punt, he answered lightly. Then we'll try something else, he amended hastily. Like what? Can't tell you yet, Oz shrugged. Too many variables. We're going with my best guess right now. Beyond that, we'll just have to wait and see. We sat staring into the dying fire for a few minutes, each lost in our own thoughts. Say, Oz, I said at last. Yeah, kid. Do you think we'll reach Istvan before Frumple does? Relax, kid. Frumple's probably drinking wine and pinching bottoms in some other dimension by now. But, you said, I've had time to think about it since then. The only reason a devil does anything is for profit or out of fear. As far as this sticking his head into this brawl goes, I figure the fear will outweigh the profit. Trying to sell information to a madman is risky at best. My bet is he's lying low until the dust settles. I reminded myself again of my faith in Oz's experience in such matters. It occurred to me, however, there was an awful lot of guesswork in our planning. Oz, wouldn't it be a little safer if we had invested in a couple of those jazzy weapons back in Deva? We don't need 'em, he replied firmly. Besides, they're susceptible to gremlins. I'd rather go into a fight with a crude but reliable weapon than pin my hopes on a contraption that's liable to malfunction when you need it most. Where are gremlins from? I asked. What? Gremlins, you said. Oh, that. It's just a figure of speech. There are no such thing as gremlins. I was only listening with half an ear. I suddenly realized that while I could see Quigley's sleeping form, there was no sign of Tonda or Gleep. Where's Gleep? I asked abruptly. Oz grinned at me. Gleep is standing watch. And just in case you're interested, so's Tonda. I was vaguely annoyed that he had seen through me so easily, but I was determined not to show it. When is, are they coming back? Relax, kid. I told Tonda to leave you alone tonight. You'll need the sleep for tomorrow. He jerked his head pointedly toward the assassin's robe I had been using for a pillow. I grudgingly resumed my horizontal position. Did I wake you up, Oz? I asked apologetically. With the nightmare, I mean. Nah, I was still up, just making a few last-minute preparations for tomorrow. Oh, I said drowsily. Say, kid? Yes, Oz. We probably won't have much time to talk tomorrow when Quigley's awake, so while we've got a few minutes alone, I want to say, however it goes tomorrow, well, it's been nice working with you, kid. Gee, Oz, I said, starting to sit up. A rough hand interrupted me and pushed me back down. Sleep, Oz commanded, but there was a gentle note lurking in his gruff tone. And that's the end of chapter 22. Be careful with that and enjoy. Please and thank you, and I will see you for the next one.